Yep, thank you for having me.
You know, this is a huge victory for you personally, but do you see this as a victory for all transgender Americans, all Americans?
Yes, I do see it as a victory for all of Americans, but I will tell you, it's no surprise to me living in Vermont. I love Vermont, and this is pretty typical for what Vermont is. Vermont's been a loving state, a leader in civil rights, and we're going to continue to show the rest of the country what good democracy looks like.
Christine, you're a former energy company executive, right? You were the CEO of the Vermont Electric Cooperative. Tell me why you went into politics.
Well, you know, my passion was to show how the electric grid can solve climate change. And we actually got to the point where, when I left in March, where we were 96% carbon free, we were offering incentives to move away from fossil fuel heating, cooling, and transportation. And we did that without a rate increase. So, for 5 years. So, you know, that was my passion. But when I look what's happened in the rest of the country and in our state, November 9th of 2016 really changed everything. And I really probably spent 2017 in a bit of denial. But if I look at what's happening in Vermont, we are being impacted by what's happening in the rest of the country, and our governor is actually using the same tactics as the national GOP.
You're talking about the Republican incumbent, Governor Phil Scott, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Why should they vote for you? Because you're going to take on the incumbent. Why should people vote for you instead of him?
Well, you know, our governor, his motto is no new taxes, and of course we're going to, you know, he's kind of attacking our public education system. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not a person that talks about taxes because certainly being fiscally responsible is important, but I want a leader who has a long-term vision. You know, a 20-year vision. How are we going to get more food on the table? And how are we going to raise the living conditions for all those people on the lowest of the economic ladder? So I think we need to have leaders who have visions beyond their own gubernatorialship and beyond their own lifespan. We need to have long-term visions about what our state's going to look like.
You ran as a transgender woman. You are one of more than 400 LGBTQ candidates running in this cycle. How important is it that LGBTQ folks have a seat at the table in politics?
Well, you know, I like to talk about all marginalized communities. You know, certainly one of the things I learned in my transition is, you know, it's one thing to talk about the gender hierarchy. It's the other thing to experience it. So I think we should be talking about all marginalized communities. You know, it's certainly, if I look what's happening, certainly at the national level, you know, there's a systematic attack, and it's going to start, you know, it's going to start with the most marginalized of the communities. So the fact that our president has gone after the transgender community is no surprise, and I think everybody should be afraid.
You know, other Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in New York have also had a historic win. Is this the right time now for new voices and new ideas?
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, in the physics world, we say for every action, there's an opposite opposing reaction. Mm-hmm. What we're looking at in our political world is a definite reaction to what happened in 2016. People like myself and people like who are normally wouldn't be in politics are rising up all over. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a healthy democracy looks like. I'm hoping that years from now we can look back and say, isn't American democracy wonderful? We survived a despot.
You know, you talked about Vermont and why you think Vermont is the right place to show the country. So what do you want people around the country, because people are watching all over the country, what do you want them to know about transgender people, that you have this opportunity right now?
Well, I just want people in the rest of the country to know that we are a small percentage of the population, but you know that really I would want people to look beyond that. You know, many people have not met a transgender person, and I understand that it's different. But at the end of the day, we can contribute to the betterment of the world. And when you think about it, if we write people off because of who they are, we may be writing off the next cure for cancer or the cure for climate change.
Christine, thank you for joining us. Good luck, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.